Okay, what's up, you guys? Common Man Review here. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the defensive linemen coming up for the Auburn Tigers in the 2018 season. This is by and large the deepest grouping on our defense. And quite possibly on our entire team, next to quarterback, really. And Auburn's going to rotate about 8 to 10 guys on the defensive line at any given point this season. And these are the most notable of those guys. First is Big Cat Bryant. He is a true sophomore. He stands around 6'5" and 224 pounds. He was a 4-star recruit. Last season, he recorded 5 tackles and 2 sacks in 3 games played. I look for him to be possibly our starting defensive end on the other side of Marlon Davidson next year. He's a really effective pass rusher, and he can possibly even kick inside or stand up and play linebacker in sub packages. He's a pretty explosive pass rusher. He's a lot smaller and faster than his older cousin, Monty Adams, that played for us a while back. And he's just going to continue to produce, hopefully, as a key member of our defensive line rotation. And, of course, the next man up is none other than Marlon Davidson. He is, by and large, the anchor of our defensive line. He's started since he was a true freshman. He was a 5-star recruit out of the state of Alabama. He has 12 career sacks, 6 in each of the past 2 seasons. He has 80 career tackles. He had 42 of those last season, earned an All-SEC nod at defensive end. He started 12 games last year and 13 the year before. He did miss some time with an injury, but it didn't really seem to affect his play at all once he returned. He was effective as always. And like I said, was enough to earn an All-SEC nod at defensive end. He's not much of a pass rusher, but he is a very, very, very good run stopper who can also kick inside to defensive end when need be in sub-packages to put explosive pass rushers beside him on both sides of the field. Next up is our first defensive tackle of the group is Derek Brown. He stands around 6'5", and he's about 316 pounds. Very, very stout. He's another pretty good pass rusher in the same mold of Montravius Adams and Nick Fairley, but he's a lot more refined than those two guys. A lot better character than Fairley, and has a lot more experience playing at defensive tackle in this kind of scheme than Adams did. He was a 5-star recruit out of Georgia. He was the star recruit of our class the year before last, and he is not disappointed. He produced in his first year, rotating in with Monty Adams and Dontavius Russell as the starters, and he was a part of that rotation. He has a total of 68 tackles for his career and had 57 of those in 2017. So, huge spike in production as he gained some playing time. And he has 4 career sacks, and he had all but one of those last year. He started 15 games in his career, 12 this year, 3 last year. 14 this year and 1 last year. Apologies. Next up is Daquan Newkirk. He's a newcomer to the defensive line. He was originally an Auburn recruit a couple years back, was ruled academically ineligible, and stayed faithful to the Auburn Tigers through that process while he was at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. And he's here now, and he's looking to factor into the rotation. He's been very good in spring practices so far. I believe he did sustain an injury, though. So hopefully he recovers from that in time for fall. And next up is who I believe is going to be our starting buck, linebacker, defensive end hybrid, T.D. Moultrie. He was a 4-star outside linebacker 2 years ago. He has 15 tackles last year, and he had a sack and a half in just a handful of appearances. He was sort of stuck behind Jeff Holland, Paul James, and Big Cat Bryant and Nick Coe in that spot, but I believe he's ready to take that spot next year as guys have moved on from the program to the next level and to a different position. And I believe he's ready to take over as our starting buck next year. And next up is the old head of our group is Andrew Williams. He is a defensive tackle who stands around 6'4" and about 286. Not much to say about him. He's been a steady player throughout his career, 55 career tackles and 4 career sacks. He's just always factored into the rotation and been reliable and been consistent. He's not the best in the world, but he gets the job done when he's in there. Next is the guy who really broke out last year for us, and that's Nick Coe. He's 6'5", 275 pounds. He was sort of in that buck role last year, but he's moved down to weak side defensive end, and I believe that's a good change for him. He's a lot more natural with his hand in the dirt and will be more productive. Hard to be like that. He did earn an all-SEC freshman nod last year. He was a 4-star recruit, 29 tackles and 2 sacks. Like I said, he was another one of those guys that only got a handful of appearances, but when he was on the field, you knew it. He was explosive, and he was always somewhere near the quarterback, regardless of whether it was a pass or a run. And if he can refine that to know when they're running and when they're passing, he's going to do very good things in the SEC. And the last guy I'm going to talk about is Dontavius Russell. He is another one of the older guys in our group. He is a senior. He decided to come back this year after receiving around a 3rd or 4th round draft grade. Hopefully he wants to build on that. He's had a very productive career at Auburn. He stands about 6'3" and 310. He's got 117 career tackles. 46 of those came last year. He had 4.5 career sacks, and 3 of those came last year. So a lot of these guys had career years under Kevin Steele this year because it's the first bit of familiarity they've had in the scheme, and they all have talent. And Kevin Steele's just sort of starting to tap into that, along with Rodney Garner along the defensive line. And Russell's been no exception. He's always had talent coming from Carrollton High School, and hopefully he capitalizes on that. He could build himself into a pretty high round draft grade this year if he continues to develop and play well. Possibly as high as a 2nd, maybe even a late 1st round pick if he really dominates. So this has been an Auburn positional breakdown. This is the defensive line. The next time I do one of these videos will be the linebackers. I will not be including buck and pass rushing linebackers. They were included in this group along with the defensive ends because in Auburn's 4-2-5, that's sort of the same thing. And yeah. All right, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. If you felt like I deserved it, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video, and let me know who you guys would like to see in our rotation, who you guys would like to see step up. War Eagle, and I will see you guys in the next video.